welcome to the Black Male Impact. Today we have as guest Dr. Antwon Woods. Dr. Woods, welcome to the Black Male Impact.
Dr. Cross, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been following your page for some time now and seeing all the extraordinary activities that you have going on pretty much on the beneficial factors of the Black male. I think it's good enough to have things like this to inform the listeners of how you can still be successful, how you can be impactful, but most importantly, how you can be influential. So that's huge. I'm very giving you praise of this platform that you have assembled. I think it's a golden gem. I love it. I love it. I'm glad to be here.
Man, thanks for being here. And as always, the goal is to inspire positive change. But before we get into the questions, I would like for you to share with the listeners. I know you have been in education for over 10 years, but I know you have been doing great work. And so if you can just share with the listeners things about you and the impact that you're having before we get into the conversation.
Perfect. I currently serve as the assistant to the president for special initiatives at Belhaven University, as well as the associate professor of business administration and sports management. External role, I serve as the regional president for a business accreditor called International Accreditation Council for Business Education, abbreviation IACBE. It's a really big accrediting organization, similar to AA and ACBSP, but on a smaller scale of helping and benefiting the curriculum and the advancements and outcome assessments for liberal arts universities, private schools worldwide. So blessed to be serving in that position. This is my second term. I think this will be my last year serving in that role as a regional president, but it's been so fun, so amazing working alongside the accreditation body president these 2 years. So, and my role of assistant to the president has been extraordinary as well. Dr. Roger Parrott is an extraordinary leader, been serving in higher education for 26 years at Christian universities in America. So learning alongside him and seeing the things that he's been doing has been really instrumental for my career, my professional career thus far.
That's great. And it's always good to working for a good leader or leadership because you get to learn some of the things that you need to do. So when you are in that position where everyone have to follow your direction per se, so it's always great when we are around people that we can learn from what we need to do to be effective. So, man, that's great that you are enjoying the experience, and it's always a good thing when you have others that you too will be inspiring on their journey. So
exactly.
Yes, sir. All right. So we're going to go into the conversation itself. And my first question to you is, what is the mindset that it takes to make a positive impact?
Yeah. I think in this world today, as being an African-American male or just an African-American in general, is being very strong-minded. A lot of stuff that we go through with some phase could be discrimination, could be other facets of negativity that's out there that could try to belittle us and our image, is knowing who you are, knowing your value. That's so important. And honestly, know that people that support you and have good intentions to help uplift you. Those things are so important to have you push forward, because if you don't have the support system and the strong mind, then you won't be successful. You won't prevail. So the first thing, like I said before, going back, is being strong-willed, strong-minded, knowing who you are, knowing your value, and then have people behind you that know your qualities, know your characteristics, know your personality to continue to uplift you. Because believe it or not, you're going to have going through the processes of, say, in higher education or corporate America, you're going to have people that was for you in the beginning, but then the more you climb in the trajectory of your career, you're going to start to be a threat to others. But again, strong-minded helps you. Knowing what to say helps you, especially when the people that's above you that see that you can be a threat, you know what to say and what not to say. So that goes along in the category of that mindset of being very strong-willed. Because again, some people in the world don't have that quality, don't have those soft skills to assist in that type of processes. So knowing what to say, knowing the environment that you're in, knowing yourself will continue to help you to climb and be very successful as you matriculate in your professional career.
And I think that is very important, having a strong mind.
Hmm.
And I like the fact that you share in regards to being a threat and
Yes,
what to say in an environment. And sometimes, if you haven't been guided the right way, you
yes.
may not know what to say. So you may say things that cost you your
Hmm.
opportunity. And so, if there's a person listening, how do you develop that mindset per se in regards to what do you say in those environments? Do you not say, or do you analyze? Do you observe? How do you navigate if you haven't been taught how to move through the ranks with even when you know you may be a threat?
Yeah. I think the main thing, Dr. Cross, is I tell my students all the time is it's best to to adapt the skill set of being analytical and critical thinkers. Because again, if you're a minority, you should read the room first. You should be observant, seeing what those people are saying, and then respond in the best scholarly way afterwards, or just allow them to talk and don't respond at all. Right? Sometimes silence is the best key, right? Because you don't want to say too much to hinder yourself, to hinder your journey, to hinder your professional career, especially if they are the leaders of the organization, right? If they're the people that you are sending, that you are reporting to, then you can respond if they give you the opportunity to, but you have to know how to strategically say what a good response is to their statement. You don't want to say too much to destroy you.
Okay.
So it goes back to what we learned back in grade school and many years ago when we were younger about thinking before you speak and also thinking before you act. That goes a long way even in adulthood. So it's good that we as people, if we have that characteristic, that skill set, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. If you look at great leaders out there, even those that serve as presidents like Barack Obama, he knew how to respond when the naysayers was against him. He didn't stoop to their level. I mean, one thing Michelle Obama said, when they go low, I go high, right?
Right.
So the thing is not putting yourself at their level. Elevating is so important. Elevation is the key.
And I'm glad that you shared that, because that's a perspective that we sometimes forget. As you mentioned, that we have taught this when we were in grade school, but
Yes.
as we get older, we forget. And so I really appreciate that reminder, because I know there are a lot of us out here that are professionals and are
Hmm.
moving up. And if we weren't taught or have the right mentorship, we may
Yes.
say things that we are not supposed to say,
Yes.
even if it's the right thing to say, but maybe not the right time to say it. So
Exactly.
I really appreciate that perspective and reminder to all of us as we move through life.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is, what advice do you have for the men listening and how they can play a role in creating positive change?
The best thing is I've got it's another position. I have so many positions in my current university. I serve as the associate dean of the School of Business. So we develop these. One key aspect of the thing that assists the growth under this position was establishing a professional readiness program. This professional readiness program is helping the the undergraduates to build those soft skills, connect them with mentors to help them in the developmental processes. So, to answer your question deeply, one thing that I feel is a really good thing to help you to be a game changer or extremely impactful It's having the people around you that already went through those loopholes, the experiences to help you in your processes. One thing about me that I have is my 3 or 4 presidents in my network that I look up to for guidance, for mentorship. And they help when I have a issue through my journey, right? They tell me a better way to look at things, to navigate through things. And it goes back to what I said previously, knowing what to say in difficult situations. So mentorship is a key thing that can help with that question, to help many of the African American males, to help them to continue to be catalysts of change. But outside of mentorship, you have to have the want factor. You have to have the importance, the thing that you see is a benefit for society. So if that's going into corporate, in the corporate space, in corporate America, higher education, another industry, you have to have that motivation inside to continue to climb and not be comfortable. With me, I'm only in my 30s, and I feel that my experiences have put more than the 10 plus years under my belt because of the many things, the many projects that I assisted with, collaborated with, that I completed myself, has helped me to grow and be more mature in that regard. So all those things together in that bubble helps together. But the biggest thing is you yourself, knowing what you want to do, knowing what your God gifts are, and how to climb and to be great with those things. So all those things are important. The key thing is you have to know who you are first, and then have those people behind you to help push you in those processes.
I think that is really important, knowing who you are, and as you mentioned from the first question, we're having guidance, having
Yes.
mentorship. So knowing what you want to do, who you are, but having those people who can help you navigate your journey will be a great factor in
Yes.
positive change, because we know the climate when it comes
Yes.
to us as Black men, but not all of us do at times have the right guidance.
Mhm.
And what we have found late on my journey is that we can't wait for someone to see our abilities. Sometimes we have to seek out those individuals that would want to mentor us,
Mhm.
or make ourselves available. So I do support and really appreciate that you mentioned that, because
Yes.
we don't know everything, even though we want to make change. And it's great to lean on those people who have gone ahead of us,
Yes.
and sometimes not even much older, but have more experience in the space that we want to be in.
Yes. One thing I want to include with that segment is evaluation processes.
Okay.
Being able to accept a critique. I think as people in general, it don't matter what ethnicity you are. I think a lot of people are really terrified to when someone of the opposite race as them, the opposite sex, or maybe someone their same ethnicity, to tell them that this is your weakness.
Yeah.
This is where you fall short at. I like you, but I really think that if you don't change this, you can go through a negative road, the wrong road. So for me telling you this, and the key thing is going back to the leader follower ordeal, is best for the leader. It could be people that's listening that are in leadership, or they're not in leadership, they're the employee. It's best for the leader to tell if the follower, it has a flaw in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
instead of waiting 6, 7 months, a year later. Because think about it, what's the reason for waiting so long if you the leader and you know the person that you are overseeing has a flaw? Proper leadership, proper leaders know how to inform those followers when they have that weakness,
Yeah.
early on. And it's up to that follower, Dr. Cross,
Yes, sir.
for them to accept. If they don't accept while that leader tells them early, then if you mess up, you know the traditional way. we can find someone else who can replace you, right? It's easier in the corporate space to do that. But for those that are eager to, for the betterment of self
Yes.
and are open for criticism, for the identification of those weaknesses, I think they will be willing to learn how to change that to a strength. And honestly, those experiences help so much in the interview process. When those interviewers, not ease, interviewers, ask the question, tell me about your weaknesses and how those weaknesses turn into a strength. How did you turn those weaknesses into a strength, right? What are those experiences that you went through that help you to amplify yourself to make those negatives into positives, right? So that is the biggest thing that I've seen from not just my undergraduate students, but my graduate students, and even some colleagues. Some of them are not willing to accept a weakness.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's a valid point because it's not always easy. We sometimes don't want to accept the things that we may need to work on to move forward. But if we want to really grow and become the best version of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we learn the areas that we can improve. And so we can be better because we all
Yes.
want to be better, but sometimes we don't want to hear the areas. And that's something we have to learn because
Yes.
people may sometimes think that you're trying to hurt them, per se,
Mm-hmm.
discourage them, but it's to help them to become better. And I like where you mentioned that, pointed out early as a leader, and help that individual to become the best that they can be. I think
Yes.
that's important as we go on this journey. And that leads me to my next question. How can we, as Black men, help to change the narrative today?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to help the African American men to make that change is to be different. Be different from what tradition wants us to be. Be different from society, what society depicts us to be. And with that is we can be different compared to the expectations of being what we see in society or society past, such as rappers, athletes, things of that nature. The world has plenty of opportunity. Now, nothing against rappers or athletes. I think that's a good image to show your artist
Yeah,
side of self. But I want plenty of the listeners to know that there's plenty more opportunity outside of that. And honestly, it's been plenty of athletes and rappers that had multiple skill set, multiple opportunity. If you a rapper, own your own rapping label.
yes,
What Jay-Z is doing with the business side of thing and becoming a billionaire, that is what I'm alluding to.
yeah,
He was a rapper, but now he's an entrepreneur. He's an investor.
yes,
Do things to provide more longevity of opportunity for you, to
yes,
provide more wealth for you. Something can be beneficial for your family, the next generation. Creating generational wealth is so important. But also another thing to help you get to those points is knowledge,
yes,
reading for the literary aspect of things, practical, putting things that you read into practice, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of these billionaires, I'm gonna just reference Jay-Z and P. Diddy
yes,
and Michael Jordan and others that are Magic Johnson are game changers,
yes,
right? I'm pretty sure it went back from what they read, from who they knew, who
yes,
they know, right? That assisted their guidance. Those things are pillars to help or to show our youth, show the next generation that you can be something extraordinary,
correct, correct.
something that our ancestors have dreamed upon, and you put those things into action. Thing that puts smiles on people's faces that see that, oh my goodness, Dr. Cross, Dr. Woods are doing things that I thought we could not accomplish.
Correct, yes,
How did they get there? From reading, from connection,
yes,
from having dreams, aspirations, even when people tell you to be, to settle and just be silent,
Yeah.
right? I had a person tell me one time, and this could be a benefit for the listeners, that you shouldn't market yourself. You shouldn't use social media to show those characteristics, to show all the things, the experiences that you went through. You should just be quiet, sit back, and then just allow time to help you get where you want to go.
And work.
Come on. How in the world of marketing,
Yes.
advancements, technology, the world of social media, we're all are doing that.
Yes.
Some of us don't know that we're not doing that, but we all are doing those things to help amplify, to help evolve
Yes.
our characteristics. Every person on this planet, believe it or not, are trying to evolve in some way, shape, or form. They're trying to evolve. So to have another person to tell you that you should just sit back,
wait,
be silent, that's an insult.
Oh yeah.
That's an insult. That's insulting. But think about this too. Those that are insulting you, I said earlier, are intimidated by you.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. They want you to suppress your abilities because it makes them maybe look good, but it makes them don't have to work harder. And that's the one, wants to work harder. So they will tell you not to shine your light. And some years ago, when I decided that I want to be better, I came across this quote maybe at the right time. It said, "Don't stand in someone's shadows when your light is supposed to lead the way." And I was like, man, you know what? This quote is talking to me right now because at the moment I was trying to follow someone that wasn't even trying to encourage me to be better and just starting that journey. And that's how I felt because, I was holding what I know because I don't want this person to look bad and stuff like that. And then came across the quote and they say, you know what, that put things in perspective, but it goes to what you just said. To change, yes, of course, we need to have the right guidance, be willing to be critiqued, but also be willing to let the world know who we are, what we're capable of doing, the impact that we can make. And I really also like the analogy in regards to creating, changing the narrative, where society told us about that we are limited to be artists and athletes. But as you shared, those artists and athletes from Jay-Z and Michael Jordan, they have shown that you can be more than an athlete or an artist. And because they read and they learn more to help them. But I know those individuals have guidance, have right mentorship, have someone to help them to navigate that journey that they're on. But the aspirations and the ambition also helps because they have to want it more to really find those individuals, start learning what it takes to be more than what society place on us, those limitations. So it's great to remind us, the listeners and everyone, that yes, have the guidance, have the mentorship, but the ambition and the desire for more is also important because you have to have that internal drive.
I agree. I definitely agree. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. To go forward, because if you don't have the motivation, you may be in the right environment, around the right people, but may miss the opportunity if you don't have that drive to want more, because you still have to do your part of the work. It doesn't matter the environment. You still have to do your part of the work. And to my next question to you, and I know you've been in education for over 10 years. So what or who has inspired or influenced you to pursue the path that you're on?
Honestly, I think it goes back to when I first started in higher education at Vanderbilt University. The late David Williams, who was the vice chancellor and athletic director at the institution, being around him, seeing how he moved, being observant of his personality, how people listened, was extraordinary. This was an African American male, and me growing in or being a baby in this industry was something that I never seen before. That level of impact at an institution so prestigious as Vanderbilt University. And not just at that institution, but within his community, right? That was an introduction of leadership that I admired. I mean, it's countless others. I mean, my mentor now, a great mentor who's the president of St. Elizabeth University, his name is Dr. Gary Crosby. He's been my mentor for a number of years now. And his mentorship has been a great assistance for my growth. So I think in the beginning of my career, I would say the late Vice Chancellor David Williams. I would say going to present time to someone that I talk to on a daily basis is President of St. Elizabeth University, Dr. Gary Crosby. Those are two great individuals that I see as a person of my same ethnicity that I can look at as an example.
Yeah.
Of course, there's countless others that are not African Americans that I've studied, like E. Gordon G., president of, I think he's at West Virginia now. He served as the president of Ohio State and the president of Vanderbilt University in the early 2000s. So I've been reading his book. It's been a lot of benefit of what he shared about the presidency at public institutions and the impact there, right? And again, my president, Dr. Roger Parrish, with his books that he published, one more particular recently, Opportunity Leadership, and the things that he shared within that text, that really has a light bulb effect for me in my growing process. So again, I mean, with me, I have a diverse mindset, and I try to connect myself with different variety of people to help build myself. But again, focusing on those that are just like me, who look just like me, definitely the late, great Vice Chancellor, David Williams, and I would say amplify him a little bit more, the great president at St. Elizabeth University, Dr. Gary Crosby.
Man, that's great that we have people that we look up to. When you are ambitious and want more, it's good to have people that can help you to navigate your journey,
Yes.
help you to tap into your abilities, because sometimes we know that we want more, but how do I navigate this journey? And I know you mentioned the books that these individuals have published, which is a great source, because sometimes we don't have to even talk to these individuals, but just gaining the knowledge from what
Yes.
they share. And just listening to you, and whilst you were at Vanderbilt, when you, I don't remember the person's name that you mentioned, but you look up to that person. And I think
Yes.
maybe that's where it all started in regards to the desire to be in leadership role, because you were talking about the impact that
Yes.
the person having on you and just in general. And I think once we see that, it sometimes pushes us, especially when we see people that look just like us doing it.
Yes.
And they say, man, if he's doing it or she's doing it, man, I think I can do it. And
Yes.
it's always great to be around individuals that prove that you don't have to settle. Yes, we all don't have the same upbringing. We all don't have the same same social status. But when you see some individuals doing it, despite their upbringing, despite where
Yes.
they started, you can now look to yourself or look in yourself and say, you know what, man, I think I'm going to do this thing. And
Yes.
I tell you, it is really powerful, I would say, just to see individuals, especially when you read their story and you
Yes.
realize that, man, this person didn't start at the top. They start at the bottom, but they are here. So it's great to have those people that we look up to when it comes to being the best that we can be the
Yes.
version of ourselves as we continue on this journey. So, my next question to you is, what is your perspective on the current climate of Black men in society today?
I would say the current perspective, I think that is changing for us as African American males. I think a lot of us have examples of who we can be, who we can grow into, compared to 20, 30, 50 years ago when that was extremely minimum. So I think the climate is pretty. I think it's pretty. It's at a place that provides more opportunity, especially with the highlighting of social media. Social media is doing something
Yes.
that can amplify imagery.
Yes.
I mean, and think about it. Think about our youth that have access to things now compared to when we were younger.
Right.
I mean, and seeing more comparative to what you will see on TV. Yes, it's positive and negative, but the power of life has provided the opportunity of choice.
Correct. Yes.
This society provides that the opportunity to choose who you want to be, what you want to be, and to take you to where you're going to lead to be,
Yeah.
right? So those things is what I see now that gives us a growing process. We see more, if we stay on the particular to African Americans,
Yes.
males, and honestly, you have to applaud our sisters.
Yes.
They doing some extraordinary things. I mean, my wife is a pediatrician. And one good thing that I have to give praise to her is having an entrepreneurial mindset of wanting to create your own.
Correct.
So piggyback for a second, I'm gonna lead right back to that. You said that what has society shown us now,
Yeah.
that's growing our characters, growing the likability factors, right? It's providing opportunity.
Correct.
So my wife is establishing her pediatric practice, which I can announce it because it's trademarked. So Beanstalk Pediatrics, PLLC,
Yeah.
having her own, being the first pediatrician in her family, being the first overall doctor in her family, and now to throw out there a CEO, entrepreneur, the first in her family. Now, I have to brag a little, got to piggyback a little bit further. I accomplished my doctorate before she did, but I'm giving praise to her. The thing is, opportunity, the power of choice is what we have now. 50 years ago, believe it or not, 60, 70 years ago, we didn't have that opportunity. Now we have the opportunity to choose who we desire to be. And that's so important. Only if we want it bad enough. We want to defeat the odds. We want to be different. We want to destroy the stereotype.
Correct.
We want to be leaders.
That's right.
Now, nothing wrong with followers, because followers transform to leaders.
Yes.
But to be extraordinary and not ordinary.
Yes.
That's the power of today that we have. Today provides more resources. We're more resourceful compared to our grandparents, great grandparents, though our ancestors.
Yes.
Only, Dr. Cross, if we take it.
That's right. And I just shared something about that recently. We can't wait. We have to take it. We
have to take it.
And really want to, because no one is going to just hand you. Because the world knows, I believe, our greatness as Black people. They know what we're capable of. Sometimes we don't know. But it goes back to what you're saying when it comes to the current climate and where we are and your perspective. And I do believe, as you shared, that yes, we have more opportunities today. We have more examples today of what is possible. I remember a few years ago, before I started my doctoral degree, I just went in, started searching for Black males with doctorate, PhD.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I was really aware of. I've seen Black men with doctorate degrees, but when I start searching, I was surprised. I was blown away with the amount of Black men with degrees.
Yes.
So with social media today, I think, but it goes back to what you have shared, that we need to be okay with marketing ourselves. We need
Mm-hmm.
to share the great things that we're doing. We need to
Yes.
brag a little, because
Yes.
we don't do it. Sometimes the next generation will not have someone immediately around them to
Right.
provide that example. And it's just by putting ourselves out there, help
Yes.
us to change that narrative, help them to see something else, what is possible for them. But I do agree, as you shared, today we have more opportunities than the generations before, 20 years, 30 years ago, especially with technology. And as you mentioned, I know you were mentioning about your wife and stuff like that. And yes, the sisters, man, they are doing it.
Yes.
And we can learn from what they're doing. They're taking this thing seriously
Mm-hmm.
about moving forward, and that's what we have to do. And one thing that I've seen with the sisters is that they are supportive of
Yes.
growing up. They used to say all ladies can be in one room because crazy stuff is going to happen. But it's different now. I don't know,
It is.
because you see them working together. You see them pulling each other up as they go.
Correct.
And that's one thing that we have to do, especially when it comes to changing the narrative. We
Yes.
can't do this thing by ourselves. We
We
have
can.
to see how we can lean on each other, help each other to move up and open doors wherever we can.
That's true.
Because that is going to be very, very important as we move forward or change the perspective of ourselves, not just for ourselves, because we have to help others to realize that we are more than what they have said about us.
Yeah, and just to piggyback a little bit further on the marketing thing, is one person used I'm not sure if they amplified the word, but bragtocious. It's not about being bragtocious and marketing yourself. It's about the inspiration. Who can look up to you and see that I can be something like that, right? Providing the pathway, providing the opportunity for others could be that look like you, for others that don't look like you. I mean, even from the dynamic of outside of just race, but look at age. It's you don't have to be the traditional 50, 60, 70 years old, in which we know that the baby boomers are extending their retirement, right? Retirement time. So it's looking at age that you don't have to be in the older years to be impactful.
Correct.
The age now, or going back to resources of marketing yourself, is showing the world that I'm not the conventional type. I'm not the traditionalist. I'm non traditional. I'm still impactful, but I'm here to serve the communities that I'm serving. I'm here to do what I was called to do on this planet, to be a change agent,
So,
right? I might be the opposite of what the stereotypical things say, which is you have to be late 40s, 50s, and 60 years old, but it's the mindset that we stated early on.
yes.
It's that mindset of knowing the literature, knowing the practical experiences, but knowing how to use what my grandmother always shares with me. A little bit of ingredients of common sense can help you go a long way with those experiences. So if you have all, and the listeners have all of those things in a bubble together, put inside you, those practical experience, the literary experience, and that inclusion of common sense, that helps you no matter what age you are.
Man,
And we have to understand that. We have to understand that.
that's right. The common sense, just knowing your environment. But it goes back to what you have said earlier. Observe the room, observe the space.
Observe it. Yes.
And sometimes it may require you not to say, even though you have something to say. But maybe it's not the right time to say. And that is something that I learned late, because I would say what I'm thinking. I know it's not always the best thing to do. So I know there are others out there who thinks that way, that,
Yeah.
I'm thinking this right now, so I'm going to say, if they want to don't like it, I'm going to say it. But it's always good to know what to say and when to say it. And sometimes, even if though you may still say it, you may just say to that individual personally, not
Yeah.
just on a broad sense where you say it from a collective standpoint, because it could be offensive, it could be, rub some people the other way.
Yes.
If it's the right thing, it could be come off where some people be intimidated by you. So that's a great reminder, and it's something that
Hmm.
I'll share as I continue on this journey to be observant, to the space that you
Yes.
are, and be mindful of what you say when you say it in those spaces as you're thinking about moving up or thinking about achieving more, because you
Yes.
don't want to jeopardize your own progress.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So,
uh,
so that's extremely important there. I know we're going to the next segment, but I think that's an extraordinary segment that I think our listeners to understand a whole lot, because we got to believe that it's a lot against us, and we have to remain motivated. We have to remain steadfast. One thing that I consider myself, I care about team. I care about the people a part of team. And if I'm a leader, I consider myself either transformational or servant.
yeah,
Serving others is so important. And honestly, if you think about the growing process, if you have a servant leader mentality, then you have others they will want to listen to you because they understand that you know how to communicate properly, you know how to lead properly. And from those two things there, those two dynamics there, they will complete tasks efficiently and effectively. But then also from you as both transformational and servant, you want to see your followers spread their wings and fly. You don't want, the goal is not to keep you here forever. The goal is to help you in your processes, your growing processes, to be extraordinary. So yes, I might tell you your weaknesses, but I'm not going to tell you in the way that's destroying your character. No, my goal is to uplift you. So
right.
I'm sharing things. I'm watching what I'm saying, but I'm making sure that what I'm saying that you can take it in a way of improvement.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Man, and I think that is important when we, especially those around us. It's
Hmm.
important that we be mindful, even though we're trying to help them, because not everyone receive criticism the same way. Not everyone will take the what you're sharing
Hmm.
as something positive. Not
Yes.
everybody is built, as they would say, have tough skin. Some people, you say something to them, it destroys them,
Yes.
makes them feel like they're less than. So it's important that we're even mindful of that. But that's where emotional intelligence comes in. Understand that each individuals are not the same, and so
Correct.
what we say to one person may not be effective for the next person. So as we lead, we need to analyze the people that we are around, because we may not be able to share the same thing with everyone the same way. And
Yes.
our goal is to make sure the people around us become the best version of themselves. So
Yes.
I think that is a great reminder to all of us, because at some point we will be in roles that will be supervising others. So once we are in those roles, or just in whatever role, sometimes we have to be mindful of what
Yes.
we say to others. So this question, I know you may already touch on this point, but I'm still going to ask this question. What change do you want to see in general amongst Black men?
I'm gonna still go back to earlier, just having the desire to wanting to be different.
Okay.
I think that's so important. Having the aspirations to be extraordinary is so important. Being different compared to the stereotypical thing, and also being different from things that you think you cannot reach. All of those things there, whatever your dreams are, go after it. Those are very important. Again, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to be a rapper, an artist, an educator, an entrepreneur, a doctor, a lawyer, et cetera, go after it. Be that change. be the impact.
Yes.
That's the key. Be the difference.
Man, I think that as simple as that may seem or sound, that is so important. Just
Yes.
having the desire to go after what you want and don't worry about what people are going to say. Because
Yes.
on this journey, yeah, you may fail, but it better you fail going after something that you really, really want. So that's a great reminder. And just having the desire to wanting more, to want to be better. And I think we show up every day with that mindset, despite the adversities, despite the setbacks, despite
Yes.
disappointments. I think we will find our way out of the situations or the limitations that society may place on us. So I really appreciate that perspective, just having the desire for more. And that leads me to my next question. What was a pivotal moment in your life?
Oh goodness. Pivotal moment in my life, beginning of my educational experiences. Honestly, it was extremely pivotal, but I think I still consider it as a development phase. I was writing my thesis. I'm not going to name the institution, but that process was it was something that helped me understanding research and how to understand the development phase of conducting research. So, but having a certain member on my committee, a part of that, him seeing the successes or the accomplishments of each stage that was completed before I got to the proposal for that thesis stage and the actual defense when I was getting ready to think about the next phase of my educational journey. I can't direct you to the where at because I want to keep it confidential. But to go to the next facet of my educational record, that person thought that I should not pursue that goal
Wow.
and I should go another route. Even after completing a big assignment like that project, and him seeing, now he wasn't my chair, he was a committee member, but him seeing the evolution of that project and how many things that were accomplished in that project.
Yes.
So it was pivotal because it gave me the know-how to continue
Yeah.
to be the difference, to continue to go after my goals and dreams. I
Yes.
mean, honestly, overall, I wouldn't have my title of PhD behind my name if I didn't continue, if I didn't go after those aspirations.
Right.
So looking back now, yes, that was very pivotal because I'm seeing what I see now. I'm actually a dissertation chair now in my institution. Served on numerous of committees, but understanding the process, yes, that was pivotal to show me I need to continue to grow, but also it shows me that even though that person stated what he said, I'm not gonna have ill will with that person because that was supposed to be in the destiny of saying what he said.
Yes.
Because that destiny helped me to stay on that path to be in the trajectory of where I am now. So it's pivotal, but it was a great educational learning experience.
Some of those experiences really strengthen our character. As you
Yes.
mentioned, that you decided to continue
Hmm.
despite being told something, even though you were doing what was right. And as you said, it's part of destiny.
Yes.
We encounter those situations at times, as I mentioned before, to build character, because we sometimes get to learn what we should not be doing, when it
Yes.
comes to us being in those situations. Because if you're ambitious and if you're driven and wanting more, you will be in spaces like that at some point.
Yes.
So we get to learn not only what to do, but what not to do when we're
Exactly.
seated at those tables. So, I really appreciate you sharing that because that sometimes is a perspective that we overlook. That
Yes.
is actually pivotal on our journey, because we're going to be told not to do or pursue some goals. And
Yes.
I've heard that several times. I don't want to tell you because, but when you hear people telling you, oh, you can't do this or you should not do this because you're not going to achieve it, we now have to see it as, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. Although it's not really saying, man, I'm going to prove you wrong, but I'm going to prove myself right. And
Yes.
so I really appreciate you sharing that perspective, because sometimes it's something that we overlook. So my next question to you is, what life lesson have you learned late in life that you believe is important and can benefit this current generation?
Dr. Cross, don't rush yourself. That's my thing. Don't rush yourself. Don't try to accomplish tasks too fast. That can be contradicting at times, but enjoy life. I think with me, if you see my track record, that yes, I'm ambitious. Yes, I accomplished some things, but life is short, and it's so important to just enjoy every opportunity of it while you're accomplishing goals. So, what is that? That is maybe spending time with family more. If you have a child, be in that child's life consistently. I mean, my daughter is 3. I mean, she's growing up fast. Believe it or not, she's gonna be, going to college, and I'm not. I want to control what I can. While time is continuing to move, I want to make sure that my family orient side of things are satisfied, that I'm enjoying that. And not just from my immediate family, but even the expanded side of my family. Being around my mother, my grandmother, my cousins, spending time with students more and helping them and reach their goals, enjoying life by traveling. Those things there that we can't get back, enjoy, make memories.
Yeah.
Again, while you also accomplishing your other professional goals. Those things are so important in that facet of your life. Again, I'm going to conclude with this. If you focus on work too much, life will pass you by. And while you accomplish your ultimate goal, say for those that want to be in the corporate America space, and say if you want to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, your life, things that matter, people that matter, passed you by. Why are you sitting at the helm of that position? You're looking at, goodness, I accomplished my professional goal, but personally, I didn't accomplish anything at all.
Right.
My family has passed me by. My loved ones are not here anymore. I don't have a person that can root for me when I need rooting.
Yeah.
Because I didn't build up that relationship. So multitask in every element of your life as much as possible. Have energy for family, but also have energy for your professional space. So as you matriculate all together, everything is matriculating with you.
Man, I think that is really important and a great reminder to all of us. I know that, like, for me, I'm a really driven person, but that's a great reminder, because take in consideration family and the people around you that are important. If you focus only on what you do, as you mentioned, we miss the opportunities to build and nurture those relationships that we have in our lives. And I was listening to someone sharing something a few weeks ago, and he said, man, I'm a multi-millionaire. I have all the money, but I don't have no one to share it with. And so it
Yeah,
just come to that, you just brought that full circle with that perspective, because he said, man, now I don't even know the people around me, if they are around me for me or just
exactly.
because of what I can provide them. And so he was saying, man, he have met so many ladies, but he's not sure if they're there just for the money. So that's a great thing. And that's one thing that he said. He didn't nurture those relationships as he was going forward. He was just focusing on achieving his goal.
Yes.
And that's one thing that he mentioned, man. No, I don't know. Man, I have all this, but who am I going to share it with? So,
Yes.
it's really important. That's a great perspective that you share as we go forward. So the current generation know that you nurture the relationships as you go forward, not just pursuing the goal. Pursuing the goal is important. Nurturing the relationships around you is also important. But before I ask my final question, were you going to say something else?
Oh no, no, sir.
Okay. Yeah, before I ask my final question, where can the listeners find you, help
Yes.
support your work, and on the difference that you want to make in the world?
Okay. Well, my website is antwonwoods.com. That's the first area where you can find me. I'm on social media, Dr. Antwon D. Woods, Twitter. You can put that name in for LinkedIn, as well as Antwon D. Woods on Facebook. And Instagram is Dr. Antwon Woods as well, Dr. Antwon D. Woods as well. So pretty simple
That's right.
to find me, and I'm willing to engage with each of you whenever the time meets us to do so.
Okay, man. And I will also put the way to connect in the description. So once they're watching, they can always go into the description, click on the link, and they will find you to continue the conversation, or just to, I was going to say pick your brain, but I realized that people are, I say, man, don't come and pick my brain. I'm going to charge you. Because, they always call on, especially the successful Black men and women, and say, you know what, let's pick your brain. But I've seen where, especially the young ladies say, you know what, you're not going to pick my brain for free.
Yeah.
We're going to start charging you all for picking our brains and stuff like that. So it's not just to pick Dr. Wood's brain, but just to connect and even provide opportunities to him as well, because he's doing such a great work. And just the love for people is important as we go on this journey. So my final question is, what impact do you want to have on the world?
My impact, honestly, my goals of my life is to be influential, to be a change agent, and transformational. I'm all about service, and that's one reason why serving in higher education is to serve the population of people who want to amplify themselves. It's not about me. I put myself as being selfless instead of selfish. Because if I was selfish, I wouldn't have the aspirations of trying to help others.
Correct.
So my calling here is to be impactful as much as possible. I pray that my legacy, once my time is up here on this planet, that I'm remembered in the way of how I treated people and how I made them feel.
Man, that's awesome. Being of service is always the best way to live. As one of my mentor, Dr. Kimbrough, said to me, our service is the rent we pay for our time on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so being of service is, man, a great way to live, make that impact, inspire others. Because it's because of someone's effort that we are in the position that we are in today. Someone decided that, you know what, I'm not going to sit back and look at life as it is, but decide to create avenues so we could be where we are right now. So making an impact is always great. Serving others is always a great way to live our lives. Dr. Woods, man, it is a great conversation. Man, I really appreciate you being here on the Black Male Impact. Man, you have shared a wealth of knowledge, insights, and perspective. So, man, I appreciate you for being here on the Black Male Impact.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Thanks again, Dr. Cross. And again, if you need me in the future to speak on another engagement, please do not hesitate.
Most definitely. As the journey continues, I will definitely reach back out and just to share maybe on leadership, because we need to touch on those different areas, how we going to lead going forward. So most definitely, I will be reaching out. And again, listeners, thanks for being with us here on the Black Male Impact. As always, our goal is to inspire positive change and continue to support us as we continue on this journey to inspire, empower, and engage the next generation. Thanks for being with us here on the Black Male Impact.